So this is where we're at 3 months down the line. As you can see, there's still some aftermath of the old shed that was there. I'm gradually getting through it, using it as firewood, chopping it up bit by bit, drying it out in my indoor kiln, and away we go. So yeah, gradually getting cleaned up out here. As you can see, gone through that massive stack of pallets and wood. Pretty much tidied up. So this is the issue with the rats. So basically, because I've got hollow walls using pallets, the floorboards, there's a couple of minor gaps down here where I slightly changed the angle, and they found their way in. So I've dug this big trench down here. Don't know how clear it is, it's not very obvious. It's just a pipe in it at the moment, it's not doing anything. They're getting in this corner here. And as you can see, this is the countryside, and this is where the rats are. So look, hole, 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 hole. They're everywhere. Like, they're all over the shop. So, and there's compost bin there, so obviously a food source. However, I've moved a lot of the piles of wood now, so they won't feel as safe in here. I know how they work. I've worked with pheasants and things over the years, and rats and food sources, they are what they are. You've just got to deal with them accordingly. I'm not one for using poisons anymore though. So this I've set aside to probably use as some shuttering around the other side and stop them for good eventually. So as you can see, I'm gradually drying up all the old shed and all the other bits of wood that are rotten lying around. It's reasonably tidy around here now. That's my kind of makeshift wood store. Just to get it out of the elements. I never use a polythene sheet because a polythene sheet makes it sweat. You're better off leaving it out in the elements and then just drying it gradually as you go. How you doing, sheep? All good? They seem pretty happy, pretty interested. Another one coming for a look. Fascinating creatures, aren't they, sheep? Hilarious. This one is particularly fascinated, this one on the right hand side. I've had a few conversations with it this morning. They're not normally in this field, they've obviously found their way in. These are sheep off the moor that just go everywhere. Anyway, so couple of rat holes under here. I'm not going to pull it up, they've been filled up. This is a piece of old fascia board that somebody gave me, and I've just backfilled it with some foam that I had left over. This is where I had an issue with a flood. Basically what happens is, because we're on moorland and it's been drained over the years, apparently this used to have houses on it a long time ago, when it was milling everywhere. So the ground is not as spongy as it could be up the top, shall we say, and the rat holes, literally the water flows through the rat holes and they come out, don't know if you can see them, just down the bottom of that fence somewhere, and it basically spews out and this bit ends up very, very wet. However, since doing that I haven't had a problem, so it's all good. Anyway, so there's the outside. Oh yeah, and I started applying some paint today, just to see what it looks like, so I think I'm quite happy with that. It'll be nice when it's dark green. So we come through the door. As you can see, I think I've already showed you my painting efforts. I've got shelves underneath the sink now, a bit more organisation, recycling stuff, wood store with corrugated sheet to separate the fire from it, which is good. It works perfectly well, doesn't conduct much heat, that stuff, at all. Clad all the way around. I've got a little, you won't be able to see it, so these are my rods for clearing the chimney, which I've bastardised and made fit into the tube. Basically, you can store my saw down there, and I've got, it's not very clear, there's an old cutlery rack somewhere here that I've used a couple of brackets to fix on, that is basically a wood drying rack at the back of the stove, and also an extra kind of place to keep stuff, food warm and what have you. What else has been added? Well, recently, shut that stiff old door. So I've sealed up all the gaps now, pretty much. There's still a few gaps in the wood. I'm gradually getting around them. I tried yesterday, because I'm fairly skint, to make some filler out of flour and water and some salt. Not convinced, to be honest. Anyway, I did manage to successfully stick down some tiles with it, so it's interesting, isn't it? Anyway, this bit's massively changed now, so that shelf needs painting. Place for the cutlery rack. Camera's awful for focus, man. Got shelves up, knives up there, spoons, blah. Tea bags. I'm currently running a wire for phone and lights, although I would like to make that off-grid sooner rather than later. So we've got now a bar that I've added up here, which allows me to hang some fabric from, which means I can keep the two areas separate, which is very good because the bed gets absolutely boiling when the fire is roaring. So where I sleep is like sauna land sometimes. So I'm hoping with some fabric I should be able to separate the two and keep the temperatures a little bit better. What else have I done? I've made a table, funky table, amazing piece of kit here. Let's see if we can film this. This camera is awful, man. Right, here we go. So out it comes. It's high tech, this. Up comes the flap, and there's the table. Cha-ching. And this step doubles up as a wicked chair. I sit there a lot, man. It's a nice peaceful space. It's far enough away from the fire. I've added some boards on down there because I also use that seat as a saw bench, which is, this is what you have to do in small space. You have to double up everything. If it was nicer weather, I'd saw outside. However, it's manky quite often. And the pièce de résistance. How do I show you this? This is some genius plan I came up with the other day, because I was thinking the double glazing probably losing loads of heat out of. So what I did was, it's not finished, and I want to put some runners up here, little runners, and then you'll see how it works. Camera work is awful. I apologise profusely. Right, so it's really fucking high tech. It's not very easy to do one-handed even. Oh, get in, you bugger. Failing miserably. Right, you're in. Right, moving one side. We're in. I don't know why that one's got cut out, but it has. Anyway, if I put the phone like that, maybe you'll be able to see it. Hopefully you'll be able to see that. So it's really high tech. I'm not going to be able to see anything in a second. These are, I'm going to have to put that light on. My amazing homemade, where is the camera? I can't tell what's going on. Venetian blinds. Groovy, eh? So we just take them out so I can see what's doing again. So it's all pretty cozy now. The fire is going really well. Had a few issues with it. Sorted it out. Regular rodding is a good idea. So she's going pretty well as we speak. Just boiling some water so I can do some washing up, which I'm using rainwater for washing up. I'm not drinking it though, not with this toxic soup that's falling out of the sky anymore. And under here, you probably can't see much. Hasn't really changed. Will do eventually. And I've got a little shelf that I've fitted, which you might be able to see if I get up here. Maybe not. Just over the other side of the bed. And all is tickety-boo. So there you go. That's my life. 3 months down the line.